Today we are going to study chapter 4 of book Technical Analysis of Financial Markets by author John Murphy. So the chapter's name is Basics of Concepts of Trend. So first we will study definition of trend. Then second topic is trend has three directions. Third is trend has three classifications. Fourth is support and resistance. Fifth is psychology of support and resistance. Sixth is support becoming resistance and vice versa degree of penetration. Seventh is importance of round number as support and resistance. Then trend lines. Then we will study drawing a trend line. Then we will see how to use the trend line. Then we will discuss about how to determine the significance of trend line. Then what constitutes a valid breaking of a trend line. How trend line reverses role. Then we will study the fan principle. Then importance of number 3. Then how to adjust trend lines. Channel line. Percentage retracement like Fibonacci Gann lines. Then speed resistance lines. These are Gann and Fibonacci fan lines. Then price gap. Then three types of gaps. Breakaway, exhaustion, measuring, etc. And finally the conclusion of the chapter. So let us start by first point. First definition of trend. First let's read this. In a general sense, the trend is simply the direction of the market, which way it's moving. Market moves are characterized by a series of zigzags. These zigzags resemble a series of successive waves with a fairly obvious peaks and troughs. So it says that in a general sense, trend is simply the direction of market. That means in which direction is in which direction market is moving. So basically, it is a direction of that market. So that is a trend. Then market moves are characterized by series of zigzags. So this is a zigzag line. So market moves is characterized or defined by series of zigzags. Then these zigzags resemble a series of successive waves with fairly obvious peaks and troughs. It is direction of those peaks and troughs that constitute the market trends. These zigzags resemble a series of successive waves. So these are like waves of sea waves. If we observe from a far location, we can compare these waves as waves of sea. Here you can see. These zigzags resemble a series of successive waves with fairly obvious peaks and troughs. It is direction of those peaks and troughs that constitute the market trends. So it is direction of those peaks and troughs that constitute a market trend means if we are going in uptrend or we are going in downtrend, so that is direction of market. So it is direction of these zigzags, that is these zigzags are going upwards, so it is in uptrend or up direction. Then whether those peaks and troughs are moving up, down or sideways tell us the trend of market. So whether these peaks troughs are going up, so these are going up, these are going down and these are going sideways. These things tell us about the uh, trend of the market. Then an upward uptrend would be defined as series of successively higher peaks and troughs. A downtrend is just the opposite. A series of declining peaks and troughs, horizontal peaks and troughs, would identify sideways price trend. That means uptrend would be defined as series of successively higher peaks and troughs. Means this is an uptrend. So this is an uptrend. Uptrend would be defined as series of successively higher peaks and troughs. A downtrend is just the opposite. Series of declining peaks and troughs, horizontal peaks and troughs would identify a sideways price trend. It means so these peaks are higher than each other. So this peak is higher than this peak. So this is uh, successively this peak is successively higher than this peak. So this is an uptrend. Then a series of declining peaks and troughs, horizontal peaks and troughs would identify a sideways price trend. That means this identifies a sideways price trend. Okay. So this is an uptrend, this is downtrend, this is sideways trend. So these are three diagrams for uptrend, downtrend, sideways trend. Okay. So the example of downtrend turning into uptrend. So this is a new figure. Example of downtrend turning into uptrend. The first portion of the left shows a downtrend from April 1996 to April 1997. The market traded sideways. During the summer 1997, the trend turned up. So from April 1996 to April 1997, the market traded sideways. So this is a sideways trend, this is downtrend, and this is an uptrend. So the next point is trend has three directions. Trend has three directions. This is next point. The fact of the matter that is that market actually move in three directions: up, down, and sideways. It is important to be aware of the distinction because for at least a third of the time, the fact of the matter is that the markets actually move in three directions: up, down, and sideways. It is important to be aware of this distinction because of at least a third of the time. Okay, so this point should be in this point. It is important. So let's cut this. Hmm. The fact that matter actually move in three directions: up, down, and sideways. So we know that now. Then it is important to be aware of. uh, It is important to be aware of this distinction because for at least a third of the time, by conservative estimate, prices move in a flat horizontal pattern that is referred to as a trading range. So this is third pattern, which is horizontal pattern, and prices move in trading range. So this is a trading range in which prices move in this third pattern. This type of sideways action reflects a period of equilibrium in the price level where the forces of supply and demand are in state of relative balance. So in this phase, the forces of supply and demand are in relative balance. So this is sideways trend. In this trend, the forces of supply, this is supply force, this is this is supply force, and this is demand force. They are relatively balanced now. So they are in state of relative balance now. Although we have defined a flat market as having a sideways trend, it is more commonly referred to as being a trendless. Although we have defined a flat market having sideways trend, it is more commonly referred to being a trendless. So we are defining this as sideways trend, but it is most commonly referred to as being trendless. So it is not considered, sideways trend is not generally considered as a trend. Uptrend and downtrend are generally considered as trends. The failure here lies not with the system, rather the failure lies with the trader who is attempting to apply a system designed for trending markets into non-trending markets environment. Okay, so because we always trade in trending markets, so this is what they are discussing about. There are three decisions confronting the trader: whether to buy a market, go long, sell a market, go short, or do nothing, stand aside. When the market is rising, the buying strategy is preferable. When it is falling, second approach would be correct. However, when the market is moving sideways, the third choice to stay out of the market is usually the wisest. Trend has three classifications. In reality, there are almost an infinite number of trends interacting with one another, from the very short term trends covering minutes and hours to super long trends lasting for 50 to 100 years. So, in reality, there are almost an infinite number of trends interacting with one another. So, there is a short term trend, then larger trend, as we saw in the first or second chapter. That trend is the minor, then intermediate, then major. So, there are infinite trends which are interacting with one another, from the very short term trends covering minutes and hours to super long term trends lasting 50 or 100 years. So there is a 5-second pattern also, candles also there are. So in forex market it is moving like in 5 seconds. So it has very different trends involving in one another. Dow theory, for example, classifies the major trend as being in effect for longer than a year. So this is a major trend. Dow theory classifies major trend as being in effect for longer than a year. Dow defined the intermediate or secondary trend as 3 weeks to as many months, which also appears about right for the future markets. So it defines intermediate trend for 3 weeks. The near term trend is usually defined as anything less than 2 to 3 weeks. So which is less than 2 to 3 weeks is called as near term trend. Each trend becomes a portion of next larger trend. So each trend, so this is a short term trend, it becomes a portion of next long term trend. So this is a major trend, then short trend is down, then the intermediate trend is down. Okay, at this point major trend is up, then short term trend is up, and at this point intermediate trend is also up. The long-term position traders, for a few days or a few weeks price action might be insignificant. For a day trader, 2 or 3 day advance might institute a major uptrend. Support and resistance, though the reaction loss, the trough or reaction loss are called support. The term self-explanatory and indicates that the support is a level or a area on the chart under the market where buying interest is sufficiently strong to overcome selling pressure. Where the buying interest is sufficient, so this is support. So here buying interest is sufficiently strong to overcome selling pressure. Resistance is opposite of support and represents a price level or area over the market where selling pressure overcomes buying pressure. Resistance is the support of uh, is the opposite of support. Resistance is opposite of support and represents a price level or area over the market where selling pressure overcomes buying pressure and the price advance is turned back. In this portion, selling pressure overcomes buying pressure and price advance is turned back. So this figure shows rising support and resistance. So this is resistance, this is support. A solid grasp of concept of support and resistance is necessary for full understanding of concept of a trend. If a corrective dip in an uptrend comes all the way down to previous low, it may be early warning that uptrend is ending or at least moving from an uptrend to sideways trend. If support level is violated, then trend reversal from up to down is likely. So when support level is violated, then this is resistance, this is support. So we know support and resistance now. The psychology of behind support and resistance. To illustrate, let's divide the market participants into three categories: the longs, the shorts, and the uncommitted. The longs are those traders who have already purchased the contracts. The shorts are those who have already committed themselves to sell side. The uncommitted are those who have either gotten out or of the market or remain undecided as to which side to enter. The longer the period of time that prices trade in support or resistance area, the more significant that area becomes. For example, if prices trade sideways for 3 weeks in congestion area before moving higher, that support area would be more important than if 3 days of trading has had occurred. Volume is another way to measure significance of support and resistance. If a support level is formed on heavy volume, this would indicate that the large number of units changed hands and would mark that support level is as more important than if very little trading has taken place. So these are support and resistance levels. So this is the support level, this is resistance level. So it is basically telling about the psychology of traders. So at support level, it buys. Some trader are who have gone long. So it indicates psychology of them. After support level, the prices increases. So it indicates psychology of buyers. Then at resistance, it indicates psychology of sellers. And then there are some uncommitted people who haven't done anything. So at support level, many people do buy. Then at resistance level, a lot of people do sell. Volume is another way to measure the significance of support and resistance. If a support level is formed on heavy volume, this would indicate that a large number of units change hands and would mark that support level as more important than if very little trading has taken place. A third way to determine the significance of support resistance area is how recently the trading took place. So volume is a part in this, can play a large part in this. If we see volume which is increasing or decreasing, we should see increasing volume on these areas. So how much it is increasing, it shows us about the, is it going to buy or we are going to sell, or we should sell or we should buy. So volume plays an important part in this. A third way to determine the significance of support and or resistance area is how recently the trading took place. These patterns work because they provide pictures of what the market participants are actually doing and enable us to determine their reactions to market events. Chart analysis is actually a study of human psychology and the reaction of traders to changing market conditions. Chart analysis is actually study of human psychology and the reaction of traders to changing market conditions. Support becoming resistance and vice versa, degree of penetration. So, a support level penetrated by significant margin becomes a resistance level and vice versa. Figure shows declining prices at point 1, which has been previous support level under the market, has now become resistance level. So, at point 1, this is resistance level, so it is now becoming a support level now. Become a resistance level over the market action acting as a selling point at 4. Then this is vice versa for downtrend. Support becomes now resistance. So this was prior resistance. This is becoming a new support now. It was mentioned earlier that distance prices traveled away from support or resistance increase the significance of support or resistance. This is importance of uh, so this is support becomes resistance, prior resistance becomes new support. The importance of round number as support and resistance. There is a tendency of round numbers to stop advances or declines. Traders tend to think in terms of the important round numbers such as 10, 20, 25, 50, 75, 100 and multiples of 1000 as a price objectives and act accordingly. This is about thinking of trader. So they buy and sell at these round numbers. These round numbers therefore will often act as psychological support and resistance levels. A trader can use this information to begin taking profits as an important round number is approached. For example, if the trader is trying to buy into short-term market dip in an uptrend, it would make sense to place limit orders just above important round number because others are trying to buy the market at the round number. The market may never get there. Traders looking to sell on how bounds should place resting sell orders just below round number. So basically this point discusses about round numbers. So they like here it is buying at around near 800 point. So they generally buy or sell at traders generally buy or sell at round numbers. So this is basically point discussing about round number for support and resistance. Trend lines. An uptrend And trend line is a straight line drawn upward to the right along successive reaction lows as shown by the solid line. A downtrend line is a drawn downward to right along successive rally peaks as shown. So this is the example of an uptrend. The uptrend line is drawn under the rising reaction lows. So this is a reaction low. So it is drawn by joining them. A tentative trend line is first drawn under two successively high lows, point 1 and 3. So it is a tentative trend line. It is drawn, but the but needs a third test to confirm the validity of trend line at point 5. A downtrend line is drawn over successively lower rally highs. The tentative downtrend line needs 2 points to be drawn and third test 5 confirm its validity. So this is 135. It is joining them. So example of uptrend lines. This is uptrend line. Drawing a trend line, first of all, there must be evidence of a trend. Once two ascending laws have been identified, a straight line is drawn connecting the lows and project up to the right. How to use the trend line? Once the third point has been confirmed and the trend proceeds in its original direction, that trend line becomes very useful in variety of ways. One of the basic concept of trend is that trend in motion will tend to remain in motion. So the basic concept is it will remain in motion. Once an uptrend line has been established, subsequent dips near the line can be used as the buying areas. Point 5 and 7 in this example could have been used for new additional longs. The breaking of trend line at point 9 is called liquidation of all longs by signaling a downside trend reversal. So this is 9. Point 57 could have been used as the selling areas. How to determine the significance of trend line? Let's discuss some of the refinements of the trend line. A trend line that has been successfully tested 8 times, for example, that has continually demonstrated its validity. So, trend line that has been successfully tested 8 times, for example, that has continually demonstrated its validity, is obviously more significant trend line than one has only been touched 3 times. So, this is uh, this is touched one, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. So this is more significant than which is sorry sorry. So which is being touched. This is touched one, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. So it is more significant than which is being touched 2 times. Also, trend line that has been in effect for 9 months is more important than one that has been in effect for 9 weeks or 9 days. Trend line should include all price action. Some chartlists prefer to draw a trend line by connecting only closing prices, but that is not more than standard procedure. Correct drawing of a trend line should include entire day's trading range. Sometimes an intraday violation of a trend line will have chartists in doubt as to whether original trend line is still valid or a new trend line should be drawn. A compromise is to keep the original trend line but draw a new dotted trend line until it can be better determined is two-liner. So this should be a tentative trend line. Then we have to draw another trend line. What constitutes a valid breaking of a trend line? Perhaps 1% criteria would serve better in such cases. The percent rule represents just one type of price filter. The alternative to price filter requiring that the trend line be broken by some predetermined price increment or percentage amount is a time filter. The 1 to 3% rule and the 2-day rule are also applied to breaking of important support and resistance levels. How trend lines reverses roles. It is usually a good idea to project all trend lines as far out to the right on the chart as possible even after they have been broken. Measuring implications of trend line. So the example of a rising support line becoming a resistance. Usually a support line will function as resistance barrier on subsequent rallies after it has been broken on downside. So very often downtrend line will become a support line once it's been broken on the upside. Broken uptrend line becoming resistance. So this was uptrend line, so it has become resistance now. The fan principle. The term fan principle derives from the appearance of the lines that gradually flatten out, resembling a fan. The important point to remember here is that the breaking of the third line is valid trend reversal signal. Example of a fan principle. The breaking of third trend line signals the reversal of trend. Notice also that the broken trend lines 1 2 often become resistance line. So this was first trend uptrend line. It has become now resistance line. So this is now second trend line. So this is fan principle. This is becoming a fan now. This is looking like a fan. So this was another support. So joining these 2 points, we get another line. Then this was another support. Then joining this support, we get third line. So it is similarly for downtrend also. So this is one. This is in downtrend. So we drawn one line. Then it was breakout at that this point. After this point, we found another resistance. Then we drawn a line 2 across it. Then we got another third resistance. Then we have at this point we have another breakout. So after this breakout we have a third resistance here. So we have drawn line 3 here. So after line 3 it is now uh, again bouncing back, and uh, as it breaks line 3, so it is in uptrend right now. After line 3 it becomes an uptrend. So third line is usually signals the start of an uptrend. Breaking of third fan line usually signals the start of an uptrend. The importance of number 3. Some of the more commonly known reversal patterns, such as triple top and head and shoulder, have three prominent peaks. There are three different classifications of trend: major, secondary, minor, and three trend directions: up, down, and sideways. Among the generally accepted continuation patterns, there are three types of triangles: symmetrical, ascending, descending. So these are continuation patterns: symmetrical triangle, uh, ascending triangle, descending triangle. So these are continuation patterns. Then there are three principal sources of information: price, volume, and open interest. For where whatever the reason, the number three plays a very prominent role throughout the entire field of technical analysis. The relative stiffness of a trend line. Most important uptrend line tend to approximate an average slope of 45 degrees. Some chartists simply draw a 45-degree line. Most valid trend line rise at an angle approximating 45 degree, like at an angle 2. If the trend line is too steep at line 1, it is usually indicates that rate of ascent is not sustainable. The trend line that is too flat suggests that the uptrend is too weak and probably suspect. Many technicians use 45-degree lines from previous tops or bottoms as a major trend lines. If a trend line is too steep, see figure see line 1 in figure 4. So if it is too steep, it usually indicates prices are advancing too rapidly and it is not sustainable. So this is line 2 is sustainable, and at line 3 the uptrend is too weak. So this at 45-degree it is the best uh, line at 45-degree. How to adjust trend lines? The figure 4.13 shows a situation where the breaking of the steeper trend line, line 1, necessitated the drawing of a slower line. This is line 2. So this is line 1, this is line 2. Examples of trend line that is too steep at line 1 and the original uptrend line proved too steep. Often the breaking of a steep trend line is only an adjustment to slower and more sustainable uptrend line. Example of an uptrend line which is too flat. Line 1 proved too slow as uptrend accelerated. Line 1 proved too slow as the uptrend accelerated. So from line 2 it is seen that line 1 is too slow. That means uptrend of that line 1 is very slow. It is 45 degree and this is more than 45 degree. In this case, a second and a steeper trend line should be drawn to more closely track the rising trend. In this case, a second and steeper trend line, line 2, should be drawn to more closely track the rising trend. So this is line 2. This should be drawn to more closely track the rising trend. So this is accelerating trend lines. So first one is at 45 degree around. An accelerating uptrend requires the drawing of steeper trend line as shown in this chart. The steepest trend line becomes the most important one. So this says that the uptrend is now accelerating. So this was at around 45 degree. Then At this point too, we found a new support. So we have drawn from 1 to 2. Okay. Then again at point 3 we found another support. So we have drawn from 2 to 3. So we can say that the uptrend is now accelerating. We get that. So from in this point we in this figure we can see the uptrend is now accelerating. So this was first trend line. Okay. Then this is second trend line. This is third. Then this is fourth. So these are basically intermediate trends. This is a major trend, this is intermediate trends, and these are minor trends. Channel line, the channel line or the return line, as it's sometimes called, is another useful variation of trend line technique. Sometimes prices trend between two parallel lines, the basic trend line and the channel line. Obviously, when this is the case and when the analyst recognizes that channel exists, this knowledge can be used to profitable advantage. The basic uptrend line can be used for the initialization of new long positions. The channel line can be used for short-term profit taking. The breaking of major trend line indicates an important change in trend. It should always be kept in mind, however, that uh, of two trend lines, the basic trend line is by far the most important and more reliable. The channel line is a secondary use of trend line technique, but the use of the channel line words often enough to justify its inclusion in the chartist toolkit. So this is less important, but this is also a trend line. This is a basic trend line. This is just an addition. The trend channel in downtrend. So this is trend channel in uptrend. Notice how prices fluctuated between upper and lower parallel channels over a period of 25 years. A failure to reach upper end of the channel is often an early warning that the lower line will be broken. Okay. The failure to reach the upper end of channel is an often early warning that the lower line will be broken. So this is an early warning of uh, early warning about lower line will be broken. Notice the failure to reach the upper line at point 5 is followed by breaking of basic up trend line at point 6. So this is an indication of reversal or so it says that breaking of upper trend line. So this is not touching here. So this is not touching here at after 3 at, after point 3 it should touch here at point 5, but it is not touching here, so it is breaking. So this is an early indication of it will break this trend line at point 6. So these are accelerating channel. How many? Let's read this. When the upper channel line is broken, as in wave 5, many chartists will read on the basic up trend line parallel to new upper channel line. In other words, the line 4 to 6 draw parallel to line 3 to 5. Because the uptrend is accelerating, it stands to a reason that the basic uptrend line will do likewise. So it is now broken, then this will be considered as a resistance now, and here it forms another trend line. Similarly for downtrend, percentage retracement. After a particular market move, prices retrace a portion of previous trend before resuming the move in original direction. This is this is best known application of phenomenon is for 50% retracement, then 33% retracement. What this means is that in correction of a strong trend, market usually retraces at least third of the previous move. If trader is looking for buying area under market, he or she can compute a 33 to 50% zone. The maximum retracement parameter is 66%, which becomes an especially critical area. So the GAN attaches special importance in the 3 by 8 38%, special importance to 38%, 50%, 62%, and felt it was important to divide the trend line into thirds, one third and two thirds. Speed resistance lines. It is actually an adaptation of idea of dividing the trend into thirds. As with the trend lines, speed lines reverse roles once they are broken. Examples of the speed resistance line in uptrend: the vertical distance from peak to the beginning of trend is divided into thirds. Two trend lines are drawn from point 1 to point 2, point 1 through the point 2 and 3. These are two trend lines. The upper line is two-thirds speed line. This is upper line. Then and the lower is the one-third speed line. The lines should act as the support during market corrections. When they are broken, they revert to resistance lines and bounces. Sometimes these speed lines intersect price action. So this is first speed line, then this is one-third speed line. Gann and Fibonacci lines. Fibonacci lines are drawn at 38 and 62% angles. The most important Gann line is drawn at 45 degrees angle from peak or trough. Steeper Gann lines can be drawn during an uptrend line at 63% degrees and 75% degree angles. Flatter Gann lines can be drawn at 26% and 15 degree lines. So these are Gann lines. Basically, it indicates that dividing this 45-degree line of uptrend into one third of speed line, then two third speed line. So it indicates it will retrace at these points. So it is nothing but that. So it will retrace at this point. So these are Gann lines. And there are like so this is example of an internal trend line. So internal trend lines are drawn through price action connecting as many highs and lows as possible. These internal trend line drawn along the early 1996 high provided. So this is an internal trend line. So these are as many high. This is connecting as many highs as possible. So it is becoming a support right now here. Reversal days. A reversal day takes place either at top of the or the bottom. A bottom reversal day would be a new long during the day followed by a higher close. The wider the range for the day and the heavier the volume, the more significant is the signal is possible near term trend reversal. For near term trend reversal, bottom reversal day is sometimes referred to as the selling climax. So this is the top reversal day. And this is bottom reversal day. So here we can say the volume is very high. So upside reversal day, so it is showing a very high volume at this point. Weekly and monthly reversals. Weekly reversals are much more significant than daily reversals for obvious reasons and are watched closely by the chartist as signaling importance Important turning points. Price gap. In an uptrend, for example, prices open above highest price of previous day, leaving a gap or open space on the chart that is not filled during the day. In downtrend, the day's highest price below the previous day's low. Upside gaps are a sign of the market. One of the maxims often heard is that gaps are always filled. This is not simply true. The three types of gaps are breakaway, runaway, or measuring and exhaustion gap. So three types of gaps are breakaway gap, then measuring gap, and exhaustion gaps. So this is a breakaway gap, then this is measuring gap, this is exhaustion gap. There are three general types of gaps. The breaking of major trend line signaling a reversal of trend might also see a breakaway gap. After the move has been underway for a while, somewhere around the middle of the move, prices will leap forward to form a second type of gap. So this is a breakaway gap. So this was first side. So these are three types of gaps. Breakaway gap signaled the completion of the basing pattern. So this was a sideways pattern. So breakaway gaps indicates that it is completion of this pattern. Then a runaway gap occurred at about the midway point, which is why it is called a measuring gap. At this point, it is called as the measuring gap. An exhaustion gap to the upside, followed within the week by the breakaway gap to downside, left an island reversal top. Notice that the breakaway or runaway gaps were no filled on the way up, which is often the case. This is exhaustion gap. So these are basically three gaps. So this is exhaustion gap. An exhaustion gap to the upside followed within week by breakaway gap to the downside left to an island reversal top. So what this exhaustion gap is, it final type of gap which appears near the end of market move. So this is end of market move. It means that it is end of an uptrend. It shows that. So after that it will consolidate and it will be uh, it will go anywhere. So this was end of an event, uptrend event. The first box shows an exhaustion gap near the end of the rally. Prices falling below that gap signaled at top. The second box is a measuring gap about halfway through the downtrend. The third box is another exhaustion gap at the bottom. Island reversal. So this is an island reversal gap. The two gaps on the daily chart forms an island reversal top. The first box shows an up gap after rally. Then second box shows the down gap after 3 weeks later. That combination of gap usually signals an important top. So this is an basically island reversal gap. So this is important signal and it will not reverse mostly. This takes us to an island reversal pattern. Sometimes after the upward exhaustion gap has formed, prices will trade in narrow range for a couple of days or a couple of weeks before gapping to the downside. Such a situation leaves the few days of the price action looking like an island surrounded by space or water. So this looks like a island this looks like an island which is surrounded by this space or water. So this is basically, it was a downtrend, then this was up gap, then this was down gap. So this island is apart from, so this is bearish island reversal basically. This is island reversal top. So then we comes to, this is important pattern, island reversal pattern is very important. So then there is conclusion. In this chapter, we have introduced technical tools that I consider to be building blocks of the chart analysis. So this chapter was about chart analysis. That means um, reading of charts. Then it was about technical tools. So these are technical tools which are important for understanding of charts. So this was about chapter 4.